Imagine with me, you're being called into your religious leader's office. If you don't have a religious leader, imagine being called into your principal's office. It's that kind of intensity. But unlike as a kid, you're being called into your religious leader's office with your partner. And so imagine if you're a man, that your girlfriend's coming in with you. If you're a woman, that your boyfriend's coming in with you. If you're trans or non-binary, unfortunately, there's no room for that kind of different behavior in this office. The purpose of the visit is to help you figure out how to be straight and how to live the straight and narrow life. You've told your girlfriend that you think you might be gay, and thankfully she didn't throw you away, send you off. She loves you and she wants to help you. And same with your pastor. You didn't get sent far, far away, but you are being gifted these skills that you need in order to pass as a straight person. As they talk, you get more and more confident of like, yes, I can do this. I can live this life. I can ramp up my self-determination and make it happen. But then as soon as you walk out of the office, it's like the weight of the world comes down on your shoulders and you're just like, I can't breathe. And this is an amalgamation of many stories that I've heard, including my own. And I would say the worst of which was someone I'll call Andrew. He told me that something very similar to that happened to him. And then that night he had a panic attack that was so great he thought he was having a heart attack. And his friend took him into the hospital and he was honest with the doctor about what was going on. And he realized that this lie that he was trying to pull off in the world was literally killing him. And he admitted to me that if he didn't make a change, he may not be around much longer. And I was just so heartbroken to hear that story. And it heartened me in the work that I do of being a coming out coach and helping people get honest about their truth so that they can share that in the world in an empowered way and not have to hide or become someone else so that they're accepted. I want to shift from that story into sharing about Sarah. And Sarah had a similar situation where she was in a church that felt very constricting. They had certain rules about sexuality, and she had grown helpless and depressed about it. But then as we started working together, things started to open up for her, and she realized that the more and more she got honest about who she really was, she was able to share that in the world in an empowered way, and people respected her with that. And she was able to live a life of congruence. She feared that she was going to have to divorce her spirituality in order to get honest about her sexuality. But she found that the more honest she got with herself, the more she was able to show up in the world in an authentic way. And also the more that she was connected to Source in a more authentic way. And her spirituality became even more vibrant. And just one by one, all these things opened up for her. She got more confident and she got a raise at work. She got more confident. She started online dating and she was able to start connecting with someone that really lit her up. And she opened up a world that she thought was off limits to her forever. And to see her be able to have a partner now that loves her for who she is so incredibly exciting and so fulfilling. I had another client I'll call Jessica. She came to me. She'd already been doing this work of being honest about who she was in the world with her friends and family. And she realized she was at this next kind of coming out phase where she wanted to share her purpose in the world and get clear about what it is that she was here to contribute. And that lights me up. Oh, I love doing that work. I have this superpowers session that I do with people where in 1 hour we can get clear on these 4 superpower words that are your words that can help you get clear on what are you here to do in the world and how can you best do that in the most natural way to who you are, depending on how you're gifted. And as she did that, she realized that she's here to make a difference in kids' lives and in the earth. And so she put those together and made a summer camp for kids to learn how to fall in love with the earth and take care of it. And it's now going around the world in making an impact for so many different communities and so many different kids that in turn is going to change the whole world. And imagine if she would have just stayed small and living in her closet of, I don't know what to do with my life. I'm not going to share that with the world. It feels too scary. Imagine. It's so incredible to see the difference that coming out can make. I've interviewed people on my podcast about all kinds of different coming out stories. And I love that it's become quite universal, the different things that people have to encounter in order to come out. And so if you want to hear more of those stories, it's on my podcast. It's called The Coming Out Chronicles. And it's available on any platform that you listen to podcasts on. But I wanted to share with you today a little bit of what I've noticed as the patterns of people that are coming out. And I liken it to the journey of transformation, which a few people that I have been mentored by have kind of articulated these steps of transformation. I'd like to thank Darla Ledoux and Richard Rudd for their systems of looking at transformation. And I've kind of amalgamated them into my own 10 steps that are what I've noticed the way of transformation. So if you want to take some notes, there's a lot of words coming up, but I think it can be a really helpful tool for your own life. Think about what it is in your life that is ready to be transformed, that doesn't feel quite right now, that you know could be better. So the first step is dissonance. When we get really honest, something may not feel right. Something may not feel congruent. And that part may be just in the background running because you may not realize it until the second step, which is feedback. Imagine going to a wedding where someone plugs a guitar into the amp, but it's too close to the microphone. And all of a sudden there's this terrible sound. And that is feedback. And that can happen in our lives in all kinds of ways. It can happen from tripping and falling on your face or someone giving you feedback that is hard to hear sometimes, but hopefully really honest and can help you. The biggest thing to remember in this step is don't try and push it away. Don't try and reject it or blame the other person who's giving you that feedback or blame some other situation. Look at the gift of this feedback and how it can actually lead you into transformation. The next step is commitment. And commitment is where you're kind of at this crossroads and you get to make a choice. Because commitment might be knocking on your door and you can either choose to open the door and let it in so that it can make this transformation happen in your life, or you can just say no, but it likely might come around the back door and really be asking you to let this transformation flow through you because there's a gift waiting for you at the end. And when you can see that, it makes it so much more doable and helpful. And so if you're at level 3 and you choose to commit to having this transformation happen in your life, the next step is surrender. Similar to the 12 steps, You have to let go of your power and trusting that you're able to make this change happen, and trust your higher power to help you. Because likely if we could have made this transformation on our own, we would have done it a long time ago. We wouldn't have let these feedback things happen that are often painful. So step 4 is surrender. And once you surrender, that's when the transformation really starts to alchemize and happen in your life. And then you can do step 5, which is share it with someone else. And I hope that you have someone in your life that you can really trust, that you can share this honest truth with, that you can say, I've been living this way for a long time, and I needed to, likely because of family conditionings or the way I grew up, but it's not fully true. And I want to get to this new place of what I know to be authentically true of who I am, but I'm not there yet. And hopefully they're a trusted person that can hear it and then can validate it and say, yeah, that makes so much sense of why you were living with that untruth. And yes, I want to support you as much as I can to get into this deeper, true place of who you are. Something that I love for people to do in this next stage then is to create a new possibility. If this truth is no longer true about you anymore, what is opened up? What now is possible in your life? And when you can dream about that and really explore, like, oh, this is what's more true. This is how I want to enter into my life now. It's such an exciting phase. And then for step 8, I love to encourage making a touch point. Make some kind of stake that you can stick in the ground and say, yes, I've been here. This is the change that's happening, and I'm going to keep moving forward from here. For me, I shaved the side of my head when I came out. I recognized that I was scared to do it because I thought, oh, people might think I'm a lesbian if I get this kind of haircut. But I had always wanted to have a funky asymmetrical haircut. And so I realized I need to stop caring so much about what other people think about me and live my own truth. And this is a way that I can do it and not easily slide back into the old way of being. And other people have put a tattoo on themselves somewhere. One of my clients created a dance. And with that, she made a performance where she shared, I'm no longer going to be living this way of my life. I'm going to step into this way that feels more true. And it was so beautiful to see her use that as a transformative touch point in her life. Step 9 is the crystallization phase, or the integration. And it kind of goes with that touch point of how are you starting to embody it in your life? How are you starting to live this new truth that is so you? It's your unique truth. And instead of having to amp yourself up to live something that wasn't true, you now get to integrate this new truth that hopefully just flows out of you freely now because you're living from your true place. And then the 10th step is enjoyment and gratitude. You get to fully just enter into, yes, I've made this change in my life and it is my truth and I'm powerfully here living it. And I'm just going to enjoy it and have gratitude for this journey that I've gone on where it was hard, it was dark at some points, but I could always see a little tinge of light. And I'm grateful to now be in this place where it feels like I'm fully in the light and fully enjoying this new way of being. The ironic thing is the cycle starts again often if we're growing people. I think that there's always this new layer of what's not true of me anymore, what's not serving me, what do I need to let go of so I can step into my next level of my best life. And so I love doing that work with people now, helping them come out of whatever closet is no longer serving them. And I've touched on it a little bit, but I do this work because it's very personal to who I am. I was that kid that was in a pastor's office at one point and said, I think I might be gay, but the pastor just said, no, these are the scriptures that say that that's not right, so you need to just pray that gay away. And it was painful. It was hard to not have my truth validated and heard. And it was hard to just keep living a fake kind of double life thing. And at one point I almost married a man because I thought that was the way to go. That was the thing to do. And thankfully I didn't. And turned out he was gay and I was gay, and we both married partners of the same sex. For me, that dissonance happened. That feedback really like blew up in my face at one point in a bar in Mexico at an all-inclusive holiday. And you can hear that in my podcast. There's an episode where I share my particular coming out story and what happened for me. But the ironic thing is I used to live on Commercial Drive in Vancouver, which I would call the lesbian capital of Canada. And I left there to go to conservative Calgary to come out, which a bit of the backstory of that is that it was hard to do it in Commercial Drive because I had this image that I'd created, this kind of false image of who I was. I had a Master of Arts in spiritual formation. I had a private practice where I met with people and helped them pay attention to their soul, what was going on there. I was on the board for my church. I was very respected in my community and had to keep up this image. And I thought, if I come out, I'm going to blow up my whole life. I'm going to lose everything. I'm never going to be respected again. And it was really, really scary. But something interesting happened. I built a tiny house, and there was nowhere in Vancouver to park it because space is such a premium there. And I built it in Alberta, and the first person I asked in Calgary was like, yeah, put the tiny house in my backyard. I'd love that. And so I decided to move. And in that move, I kind of became anonymous in some ways. And my practice closed down. I moved into this tiny house. I went to Mexico and had that experience. And kind of everything lined up for me to get really honest with myself and to realize, like, yeah, I think I'm actually gay. And as I got honest with myself about that, so many things opened up. I was able to meet an amazing woman that I married, and now we are helping each other live our best lives and be our best selves. And we're coming up with resources to support other queer couples in their relationships. And my practice is thriving better than ever because I'm being honest about who I am and helping a special demographic of people that need that support. I'm so grateful that I've been able to make all these changes and step into my fullest life. I worried that if I was to get really honest, I'd have to give up this other little piece that was really important to me. I thought, if I come out and tell people that I'm gay, that means I'm never going to get to be a mom. And that feels really sad to me. And lo and behold, I didn't have to even give up that dream. My wife and I figured out a beautiful way to both get pregnant at the same time. And we have this beautiful family that we have together. Side note, I don't advise it. It's really hard to have two pregnant ladies in the same house and two ladies going through postpartum and those hormones at the same time. But I wouldn't trade a thing to have these two sweet kids that we have now. So I'm here to tell you that life doesn't have to blow up if you get honest about who you are. And you don't have to do that alone. There are so many supports and people that want to help you live your truest life. And I'm one of them. You can contact me at centered.ca and I would love to help you. And if not me, find someone. I hope that in listening to this, you've gotten a little bit of clarity for yourself about what is a little bit dissonant in your life right now. What is ready to come out in your life? It may be a side project that you've been doing that you think could make a lot of impact in the world, but you're scared to do it because what might happen if you did that? Or maybe you've been exploring spirituality in a different way and you're feeling like, oh, this is more true for me, but you're scared to share that with your family or your people in your life. There's all kinds of ways that if we're growing, we're shedding a layer. And so find someone that you can speak your truth to that can validate it and help you move into this new, fuller expression of who you are. Because who you are matters and is important in the world. And I can't wait to hear what you do with your one unique life.